Hello, it's week 6 of FTE 217. My name is Matthew Maltby. It is the 22nd of June, 2024. Just to let you know, I'm a little bit sweaty. I'm in Phoenix, and it is still over 100 degrees. Kind of late at night here, still over 100 degrees, and so I'm working in my workshop, in my garage workshop. So basically, we're going to go over this week's assignment, and it's going to be, first thing we're going to do is do a field strip. Now, I'm going to do a field strip the way that the military taught me how to do a field strip. Others may do it a little bit differently, but at the end of the day, I'm going to do it the way the military taught me. Second, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about some accessories that I might want to go ahead and add on, and I definitely want to keep working on this guy. Number 3, talk about triggers, aftermarket triggers, whether I think they're worth it or not. Spoiler alert, heck yeah. And then last, I'm going to do we're going to talk about dimpling the barrel to make sure the gas block doesn't start sliding all over the place. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and do a drop test. So now I'm not that I'm not computer savvy or not good at video editing, but I did find out that early in my SDI career, I was spending a lot more time doing video editing than I was doing anything else. So at the end of the day, these are supposed to be just assignments I'm turning in. I'm not going to put a heck of a lot of production value into this. So go ahead and just swing this around, and let's go ahead and get started. So obviously, first thing we want to do is go make sure the weapon is safe and clear. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. This scope that I'm on is a little low, so all right. Weapons on safe. No ammunition in the chamber. Nothing in the mag well. And nope, there's nothing in there. All right, so weapon is safe and clear. Now we'll go ahead and field strip and bolt home. Now, if it is part of the field strip to do the extractor and possibly the ejector. We never really went that far down the rabbit hole, but that could be part of the field strip. I'm not going to be doing that today because this is like take 3. I keep having issues popping up with this build, or not with this build, with this breakdown. And one of them was it took me like 2 minutes to try to get the pin on the extractor straight. So we'll just go ahead and simulate that. All right. I did have a punch here because another issue that I'm having is the firing pin retaining pin wanting to be definitely threw me off that with the AR-10 build. I'm not sure if it's just an arrow thing or not. I've not built an AR-10, built a couple of AR-15s, but with the AR-10, the bolt cam pin does not rotate 90 degrees. So that kind of threw me off at first, but just fair warning for those who might be perusing these videos to see what the course is like. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Again, I can go ahead and pull down the extractor, but we're going to simulate that, so in the interest of time. All right, so talk about aftermarket triggers first, because right after I got done with this build, I had a problem with the disconnector. It was no bueno, really. So I was having trouble with it resetting, did a lot of research online, and I found out that basically I would have to be taking material off the disconnector in order to actually make that mil-spec trigger work. And mil-spec triggers are great. I mean, at the end of the day, don't get me wrong. But I swear by drop-in triggers. I wasn't necessarily ready to go ahead and start grinding away at the mil-spec trigger when I already had on deck a CNC trigger for this. So I went ahead and installed that guy right in here. It's basically a drop-in trigger, and these things are great. They're amazing. I've done builds with Geisel, Timney. In fact, I have a Timney coming right now for another build that I'm doing. CMC, and definitely Black Raid Ordnance. I actually have an AR-9 that I actually built. They're great. Drop-in triggers are amazing. Plus, you can actually adjust many of them if you can. Now, this is basically a just a single stage trigger, basically meaning that there's no take up. It just basically once the wall is right there, once you touch it, it's going. But the trigger rate for mil-spec triggers is around 4 pounds. It's pretty much 4 pounds. It's about 3 pounds, maybe a little bit more. And you can adjust these. Some of them you can actually adjust. But I am a big fan of drop-in triggers. So that's going to be my 2 cents on the whole deal. All right, so we'll go ahead and throw this back together here. Now, while I'm doing that, I'll talk about dimpling the barrel. Now, this dimpling, it's actually kind of a newer concept to me to actually do that. And reason being is I mentioned I built other ARs, and I've never actually done it. I've never actually had to do it. And I've never had to do it with this one. This one runs really well. But it's something that I'm actually very much open to, and the reason is I can see the logic behind it. I've gone through thousands of rounds with my first build, and the gas for it never moved. It's never moved. But if it does, if it starts moving, start having performance issues, it's just going to be a little bit better, a little more peace of mind. So I'm thinking, I'm definitely going to go ahead and look into it for this guy. All right. And before we do that, let's go ahead and put in the buffer in the buffer. Now, upgrades. Before I'm putting this the whole thing back together, a couple of things I want to do. Obviously, I'm already putting on new buttstock, new grip, mounted a scope. I'm also a big believer in Vortex. I've had many Vortex scopes and red dots over the years, and love them. They're awesome. I also have a just basically like a flash can type muzzle brake on here. I'm going to be getting some flash hider that's actually allows me to mount a suppressor. And when I do that, I might actually get a little bit a different buffer, maybe a hydraulic buffer. That way I can, if I'm going to be running suppressed, I would definitely want to go ahead and tune that in as best I can. So, last but not least, might actually swap out the safety for radiant arms, and I'm going to upgrade the charging handle. One of the reasons is, kind of like you saw a little bit earlier, it's a little bit harder for me to get to the charging handle with the scope because the scope is at a medium height. The rings are at a medium height. That's the way I like it. But that's basically where I want it, so a little bit harder to get to it. But the eye release is perfect where I want it. Everything else is, the height is perfect. The only thing is this little guy. So just gonna have to go ahead and work with that one. So, and one last thing too, the dust cover. I did more online research because this dust cover has never worked perfectly. Never worked very well, actually. Turns out that Aero Precision just sometimes has bad dust covers. I tried to almost wrench this thing open a couple times during the build, so I've never closed it since the build. I've never closed it. I'm probably going to be pulling that off, and I mean, this is going to be a range rifle, so at the end of the day, I don't necessarily know if I really want to go with a new dust cover. So I may just go ahead and keep it open. So, but that's something I might actually look into. Never going to be able to do this easily, but something's always going to go on. So let me go ahead and try to do it the other way. Like I said, this is take 3. I'm not going for a take 4. All right, at the end of the day. Oh, one last thing I wanted to go ahead and talk to you about when it comes to upgrades. This is a UTG bipod, just something I found I had in my my parts bin. I'm going to be swapping it out with a Harris. I mean, at the end of the day, I thought I might be able to get away with it and see how it would, but I mean, at the end, it's, yeah, even when it's tight, it still kind of moves a little bit when it's tightened down, so, yeah. Yeah, it definitely get what we pay for, but a Harris will definitely be going on this. Alright, so go ahead and do a function check here. We want to make sure that everything's back the way it should be. So does not go on fire. And there we go. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is drop test. So I'm going to go ahead and drop it on the side now. They said to use a rubber mallet. I don't necessarily have one. I did see that there was a an armorer's tool. I think it was, I can't remember the manufacturer, but pretty much the thing was amazing. And it's going to pop into my mind here in a second. But basically what we're going to do, with the weapon on fire, I'm going to tap around. This is just using the plastic. So tap around the fire control. Go ahead and flip it over. Same thing. Just tap around the fire control group a little bit. Nothing happening. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and take it up about an inch and a half. Drop it down. Yep, nope, nothing. Now this does have a little bit of a buffer pad, so it's going to absorb some shock, but nope, okay. And then you go ahead and put it on fire, and nothing should be happening. Nope, okay. So now that is the drop test. We talked about triggers. We talked about accessories. I definitely want to go ahead and change out a couple of things on here. Other than that, yeah, we went ahead and did a field strip, talked about Dimpling. Well, until next time, have a great rest of your week.